Hey everyone, I've got you guys an update on what's going to be happening weather-wise across the United States mainly, but also throughout the tropical Atlantic. We have a lot of things to talk about today, as things will get quite active as we get into full swing into fall, and then also our last little bump up of tropical activity out there in the tropics. So I'm going to be looking now here at the United States radar just to get back into things. I apologize for not uploading in a long time. Surprisingly, Tropical Storm Ophelia moved into my area, and the impacts were pretty big. We had some big trees down in our area, so I did a lot of videos on that, but no updates in the past few days. So right here we'll be talking about a lot of things, but a few things to make mention of here. You can see we do have a few strong to severe storms associated with a pretty big system of rainfall moving their way across parts of uh, Missouri. Mainly the severe storms are off to the west down towards eastern Oklahoma, and then these storms are connected to this big low pressure system that's just going to be moving towards the eastern U.S. It's going to be bringing some severe weather to the region, but for the most part, I don't think that's going to be that bad. We don't even. We might have a slight risk up for severe weather. I'm not sure, but there's nothing that's really, there's nothing that's really concerning me as far as as far as where the SPC is going right now with this. But for the rest of the United States here, we do have a developing storm system that we're really gonna have to keep watching. I'm concerned about this one up here in the Pacific Northwest. I think we're going to get a big system here, potentially a atmospheric river. I know it scares you guys because out there in California, you guys had a really, really dangerous and terrible, deadly atmospheric river that moved through last winter, and we are going to get another one, not as intense, and it's also going to be in a different area, but this will also bring some very heavy, continuous downpours day by day. You are going to get inches of rainfall here, and some of you might see some snow because we are getting into fall. All right, and so colder temperatures are coming in, and some of us are seeing some of that first snow of the season here, which is pretty exciting because I'm a pretty big fan of winter weather, and we are going to get in that phase where we start getting some pretty big snowstorms. But you can already see we got snow showers falling across parts of the pretty much just the mountainous region and across the Washington and Canadian borderline here. But this is your developing system here, and there is a bit of heavier rainfall that's moving its way across extreme eastern Montana into western North Dakota. That's all. This is all associated with one system that's trying to get going here, and it's going to be kind of sweeping across here. But we think of an atmospheric river as continuous flows of moisture that comes off the coast of the northwest here, and so because we are in an extreme El Nino, this is a very strong El Nino. Things like these can happen here, and that's something that hinted the El Nino. Last year was during the winter we had the atmospheric river that was setting up just off the coast of California. We have the same type of scenario, but just up farther north. I think this one's going to be a little weaker. It's going to be a little shorter, but this will still definitely bring some major impacts to the region. So we'll go over to our alerts here. So nothing much going on as far as alerts go here. But you can see that we do have a lot of counties actually out here in the Mid Atlantic region under some flood advisories and some coastal flood advisories. All right, this is because just leftover rainfall that Ophelia brought to the region. Well, that's certainly caused flooding, and especially across these coastal regions here, we had we just had a lot of major flooding because number one, you had that storm surge that was for areas farther south. All right, I think the storm surge was pretty much went up as far south as the south shore of Long Island. All right, I'm on the north shore and I'm tucked in by the the Long Island Sound here, so we didn't really see any storm surge. We just got some fairly big waves, but it's really this area here that got the worst of the storm surge. And so basically what you have is that you have those roads that are still wet. You're still getting some drizzle out there because there's still some clouds and leftover showers. So that's why that's out there. But for the rest of the U.S., some lingering severe thunderstorm warnings out here for parts of southern Texas. Just a few of those couplets of storms that are moving through the area. You may find yourself under one of these if you're out here in southern Texas around tonight, the San Angelo area. What is this? This isn't even this. I don't know. This is not the Houston area. I think you guys are down here. This is the San Antonio area. So if you're in any of those areas, just don't be surprised if you find yourself under a severe thunderstorm warning tonight. That is just going to be because of that system that's moving across the region. All right, a few red flag warnings out here in the mountains regions out here across parts of Utah, Colorado, and then central Wyoming. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll go over to the GFS model for our temperatures here. So we'll go to tomorrow's high just because we kind of covered what today's high was going. We're pretty much past that. So, what is this? The 27th. So we'll go to the 28th, which is tomorrow. All right, we're waking up 8 a.m. All right, some very chilly temperatures. Notice very chilly temperatures out here in the Pacific Northwest. You see these blues here? This is marking temperatures that are pretty much at that freezing point. So it could be around 30 degrees for some of you out here in places like Montana and Wyoming, especially Idaho here. You can see a big splosh of blue here, and even these really bluish greens. Those are temperatures ranging from the mid to lower 40s down to the 30s. So very chilly start to your day out for the Northwest. For the Southwest, pretty much the same all the way down towards California. You're getting a little warmer, waking up at around 50, 60 degrees. All right, for the central U.S., you still have some sort of a heat dome. We are going to be talking about a heat wave that's going to be forming across the United States, but that's taking shape here. This is what you got. You got a pretty big area of high pressure here and heat that's going to be blocking out this storm from completely moving out of the northwest pretty fast. But then at the same time, there is an oncoming cold front here that's going to be pushing this heat out of the way, and this heat is going to be spreading into the eastern U.S. So this is how things are going to be moving in the next few days. But we're very lucky here that the pattern is organized enough that we don't have any severe weather potential, really. I mean, we got to keep an eye on things, of course, but I don't think the severe weather potential is going to be this high for this one. Although, if we had a completely different scenario where things were a little bit messed up here, a little bit sploshy, I think we could definitely have a bad scenario here. But we're waking up. Not waking up anymore. We're getting it to 2 p.m. So these are your daytime highs. You can see for the eastern U.S., you guys are in the 60s and 70s for most of you guys. Up in the Northeast, you're going to be starting off in the 60s. Maybe some of you getting into the 70s. But this is where your heat wave is going to be located right here in the central U.S. 90s for some of you, getting down towards northern Texas. You're getting back in the 80s, but definitely not too terrible with that heat. It's just going to be pretty hot, like any other day was this year. But man, the summer was really brutal with that heat out there in the central U.S. But southwestern U.S., the desert, you guys hanging around 90, 95, 93 degrees. But some of those areas out here in these more yellowish orange colors, you're going to be in the 70s. Some of you getting in the 80s. If you're on the coast of California, going to be a very nice day. I believe you guys will have some sunshine. All right, and you're going to have some pretty nice temperatures. So maybe a beach day for some of you. I mean, I don't know if you're off from work that day for any reason, then maybe hit the beach. But I really don't know what you guys will be doing out there. Most of you will probably be going to work, but that's that. So for the northwestern U.S., we will eventually warm up a little bit. We'll get into the 50s, 40s, Some of you will touch 60 degrees. I don't think it's going to feel particularly warm. I think it's going to feel warmer though than recent days. All right, just because. Let me get back to the temperatures here. I apologize about that. Just because we have had cooler temperatures in the past few days. You can see I mean, for you guys here in the extreme northwest, it's been cooler, but I definitely think it's been warming up here because that heat is pretty much finishing to it's starting to move away from you guys. So you're getting that last push of the heat, but then things will start to cool down a lot. All right. So we'll go over to the Climate Prediction Center, which is very interesting here. This is our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. So this is valid for October 3rd to the 7th. And this was just issued today. So this is a new forecast that was issued today. We can see that we have this is a traditional pattern here where we get this is a traditional heat wave pattern here. All right. So we have low pressure localized right here, just above the northwest here, associated with cooler air. Right, that's gonna be causing uh, some rainfall to start forming and that storm buildup. But you can see that the entire eastern U.S. is in a huge spot of at least 60 to 70% chance of seeing above average temperatures, and we have a 90 to 100% chance of seeing above average temperatures for a huge area. This is going all the way up towards northern Michigan, extreme northern Michigan, all the way dipping down towards this is northeastern Arkansas, going up towards the Tennessee Valley, and all the way up to upstate New York. All right, that's a big area. That these are millions of people that are seeing almost 100% chance of, almost a definite chance of getting above average temperatures, meaning that you're going to go from the mid to upper 60s, some of you getting in the lower 70s, to consistently seeing 80 degrees. Okay, and even towards the coast, you still have a 70, I would say, 70 to 80% chance of seeing above average temperatures, all the way up towards the coastal regions of Maine, down towards the Delmarva area. All of you guys in a 80 to 70 to 80% chance. Down towards the southeast, not as bad though, just because you're kind of protected here by the extreme heat, so you guys will be at around a 40 to 50% chance of seeing above average temperatures. But I still think that you guys will get some slightly above average temperatures. All right, but this heat stretches all the way towards pretty much the Montana and North Dakota and South Dakota borderline, going down towards Wyoming, then parts of Colorado. This doesn't go into Utah, but this does go into New Mexico. So this entire area is in an above average risk for seeing above average temperatures. All right. So we go towards the western U.S. Now we have a below average temperature risk. All right. This is not as major as the obviously the above average risk, just because we don't see any numbers getting up to around 70%. The highest we're getting here is around a 40 to 50, maybe up to a 60 to 70% chance of getting below average temperatures. All right, so that's going to be associated with that rainfall that's going to be starting to get going, and then uh, that's eventually going to build up into that storm that's going to be moving through, and that is actually going to be that's actually going to be the start of your atmospheric river. So this could be a pretty similar picture to what we see at around like October 10th to October 15th. I think that this will definitely be different, but I don't think it's going to be different by much. I think this could definitely be somewhat near the same as what we see up until then. All right, so we look at the GFS model here, looking at what we could expect with our storms here, looking at our pattern. All right, here is your first wave of your atmospheric river. All right, you got high pressure dominating the central U.S., getting this storm system out of the way off to the east, to the Midwest and the Northeast. But watch as this starts to try and get going here. Let's see what it does. All right, and it's really getting bigger, and it takes a long time to develop. Notice that. But then here we go. We're getting into the 30th here. We're getting into looks like this is Saturday. Yeah, I believe this is Saturday. So you're getting into the weekend. We have a pretty massive storm that's stretching all the way up from Montana down towards Southern California, and it's just pretty much a line of rainfall and a bit of snowfall up here, a bit of snowfall down towards the mountains. That's just going to be pushing to the west. All right, I think you could feel impacts as far west as places like Minnesota, Iowa, and then maybe down into parts of Missouri. But I really do think that this storm is going to be pretty big, and I think it's going to be showing what it's got for sure to be just being one of just being the first storm of this atmospheric river. But it falls apart pretty quickly, so I guess it wouldn't be the strongest storms. But here's the thing I'm concerned about. I've been noticing this on the GFS. It wants this thing to recycle and then redevelop and then potentially become a severe weather. I guess I don't even know how to put this. This could turn into a storm that could go severe. All right, and then this could have a damaging wind squall line. All right. And a frontal boundary of warm air in front of it with cold air pushing on the backside. That it just has the ingredients lining up for severe weather event from the October 3rd to October 5th. All right, so you just got to keep an eye on this just in case this happens. But the GFS is hinting that we could get some sort of a piece of energy that most likely would be the same as our storm right now, that will try and recycle, redevelop, and then uh, potentially go severe. But we really don't know what's going to happen at that point because this is 180 hours out. So I mean, this is like late next week. All right. But after that, we get another system trying to push through. There's a pretty big dip in the jet stream. We have warmer temperatures right here, going pretty much surrounding this dip in the jet stream. But all of a sudden, you got a surge of cooler air. This is very cold air. Maybe even an Arctic blast is what you could call this. But you've got very cold air moving down into the north central U.S., the northern high plains here, and this could create some snowfall. You can see we got some snow falling across the southeastern portions of Wyoming, going down into Colorado. So, I mean, I think that there's going to be many storms throughout this like line of storms that is going to have the potential to drop a few inches of snow to some areas. I think that's possible. So if you're living close to a big area of mountains, and you're out here in like the northwest, especially, but also the north central, the northern high plains, you could definitely get a few inches of snowfall from one of these systems. That's certainly possible. And I mean, these lower level pieces of energy, they start out weak, just bring some snow flurries and some rain showers. But then again, we have another scenario that the GFS is showing where, let me get rid of this. We get another scenario here that looks pretty similar to what I was just talking about, where we get another storm that tries to redevelop or recycle, you could say, and then go severe warned. All right, or I wouldn't say severe warned, but it just goes severe here because you got low pressure right here in the middle, all right, and you've got rotation right around like that, okay. And on this frontal boundary, you do have warm air right here, and look at this, you got cold air going right into the storm. This is the perfect setup for severe weather, all right. That is the setup for severe weather, all right. So this looks concerning to me, all right. Let's see how much energy we're going to be dealing with here. This is 204 hours out, so this is not going to be happening. This is going to be something different here. This is going to change. But this could be hinting something that we could see. Alright? So, look here. in our upper levels in the atmosphere here are cyclonic vortices. All right, and we do we do see that we get some pretty strong energy here. All right, and this could be around the 7th, but the GFS is now showing that the piece of energy will actually be farther west than we were seeing the rainfall. All right, because this thing doesn't look as intense as it is here while it's delivering that severe weather. So we can look at the upper dynamics here. We'll look at the vortices here, and yes, we do have. You can see it right here. This is clearly showing that we have a very. This is a very strong cyclonic vortice here. And on the front side, I don't. I'm not to the point where I can completely understand this, but you can kind of hint here that when you get these reds here and this plunge here, this is that cold air. And in these purple lines here, these purple lines, this is showing where that wind is wrapping around, and right there, that is the shape that you pretty much you don't want to see, but that's the shape that signifies severe weather, and or I wouldn't even say severe weather, but just like a potential damaging wind line, and we get that cool air surging into it, pushing into it, and then on the front side we get a frontal boundary of warmer air. So just to show things in the best way possible here, we have a very strong cyclonic vortice, which means that we have a lot of strong winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere and some very strong wind energy here. And that's just going to help fuel this thing. So this could be a potential thunderstorm event that we're going to have to watch here. But again, it's very far out, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But we see where this thing goes, and it's still trying to do something here. This is still a piece of energy right here. All right, and we're getting to all the way to the 10th, and it's made it at this point all the way towards the east coast, and you can see it's starting to try and bow out, for the second time again. So, I think this is going to be a contender for a substantial severe weather event. But we'll switch this back to our precipitation and moisture map here. All right. But yeah, this thing, the GFS still wants us to carry on all the way from this is the 6th. All right, so this is your round 1 of severe weather. All right, this is just based off the latest 18Z GFS. This is not what's going to happen. This is going to change. All right. But this is just the latest 18Z GFS, and this moves out towards the northeast, and then it tries to recycle, redevelop, and that's it. After that, and notice that we are all of a sudden we are completely dry out in the northwestern U.S. So, I really do think that you're pretty much gonna get around 3, 4, maybe up to 5 storms through your atmospheric river, but by the by let's see by the 10th, really, I think that's when you should be done, because you can see we go all the way from the 10th to we're getting to the 13th, but you have nothing really going on out here in the northwestern U.S. All right, so we go on towards the tropics here. So we're going to be looking at 2 different systems that are going to be trying to develop here across the North Atlantic. All right, so we got tropical storm Felipe or Philip. I don't Felipe Philip. I don't know. I really don't know how to pronounce these names. It's very hard to pronounce them. I think it's Philip though. But you guys tell me how to pronounce it in the comments. That'd be great. All right, but Philip or Felipe. I'm gonna stick with Philip. Um, could be Felipe. Has we've got 998 millibar central pressure here with 50-mile-an-hour winds. All right, I think this storm is going to strengthen over the next few days. But there's some great confusion of what's going to be happening exactly with Philip, but also with this system behind it. This is Invest 91L, which is expected to become a tropical depression by pretty much tomorrow. This has a 90% chance of development throughout the next 48 hours. But then the National Hurricane Center is saying that this could be swept up by Philip, and these two storms could do the what we call the Fujiwara effect, which is basically when two tropical cyclones collide. And basically, what happens there is the stronger one absorbs the moisture left with the weaker one, and if the stronger one is uh, strong enough and organized enough, it could actually strengthen because of that. All right, but in most cases, when you get a tropical storm or a low end hurricane, and this thing and the Fujiwara effect happens, usually gets some weakening with this. All right, it's not very rare, but it's definitely not common to see the Fujiwara effect. But I think that these storms are close enough together that we could get that scenario here. So we look at we go on to the satellite loop here for this is tropical storm Philip here, and Philip is definitely strengthening. I would say that, and again, there is some great confusion of what's going to happen with Philip. But starting out here, just looking at what's up with Philip right now. Let me change my color of my pen here so you can see more clearly. All right, you can see that Philip does have some good convection going on right around the center of the storm here, and we're starting to get a lot of circulation right into here. All right, and when you start to see this top half of the storm right up here start to rotate or start to wrap around the bottom and center of the storm, that's how you can get that eye, and that would be a hurricane. All right, so that's gonna be a way you can tell that Philip is looking like a hurricane, but I personally don't think that Philip's going to become a hurricane, but I think he has a shot to at least get close to a hurricane. But right now, Philip is strengthening. I wouldn't say it's going under rapid intensification, but it is strengthening. We got a lot of moisture that's getting sheared off here in the northern part of Philip here. So Philip is dealing with some pretty intense shear across uh, the northern side of it. But notice here, for example, you can see these big clouds up here, these high tops across this northwestern part of the screen, or this I guess you could say upper left hand of the screen. Notice how first they come in and they're gone here, and then you also do have some pieces of moisture here that go into this area, and they just get sheared off right when they get there. So uh, this sorry about that. This storm is definitely going to enter a area that is not going to be favorable for strengthening, and I think it's definitely going to weaken. But right now is the time where Philip or Felipe, I really don't know, can pretty much give its last breaths. But you know, we'll go now to our 5 day cone here from the National Hurricane Center. All right, there is great confusion of where this will go, but so far the National Hurricane Center has this still being a tropical storm up until we're getting into Saturday. All right, and this is going right towards Puerto Rico and the northern Lesser Antilles. All right, and so this is going to be a huge threat towards the Caribbean. All right, and this weakens to a tropical depression before slamming right into Puerto Rico. I mean, you guys are right below the center, like the direct center of future tropical depression Philip. All right, because this will be weakened to a tropical depression before hitting you guys. But if you notice out here in the northern islands of the Lesser Antilles, you guys are actually inside of that tropical storm status cone. So you got to watch out for some a larger impacts from Philip than you guys out here in Puerto Rico. But impacts could stretch all the way towards Haiti and the Dominican Republic, because this storm is going to be widening. It's going to be it's just going to get bigger, but it's not going to get stronger. It's going to be a weak storm, but it will definitely give you guys some stronger winds and maybe some heavy rainfall. But we look at the model dry guidance. This is the National Hurricane Center and the um, and the global models. These are just our spaghetti models combined here. It's all over the place. A lot of these are all the National Hurricane Center models agreeing on the storm taking this path towards the Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. But these global models take this up farther north, and it's most of them going out to sea. So there's still great confusion of what the storm is going to do. I think the storm is going to go right into. I think it's going to go right north, actually, of Puerto Rico. And why I say that is because the GFS has continuously been saying that this will dance around with and will be bothered by. This will be bothered by Invest 91L. But the GFS has been actually hinting that we could actually get some strengthening with this. All right, so we really don't know what exactly is going to happen. But so far, the National Hurricane Center has been staying strong, sticking with the idea that we are going to get a strong tropical storm and then eventually a tropical depression moving right through Puerto Rico and the northern Lesser Antilles Islands. But there's still a great potential for the storm to curve out to sea and potentially become a hurricane. So we look at the latest GFS for the North Atlantic here. All right, and so you can see that uh, this is Philip right here. It's a 995 millibar tropical storm at this point. We're waking up tomorrow. All right, let me go back here. We're waking up tomorrow, and this is pretty much weakening at this point, but it's almost stalling out. And this is when the Fujiwara effect could start because these two storms right here are very close. All right, they are very close together, and so at this point, I think that the Fujiwara effect would begin. All right, and so that's why we're not seeing pretty much any movement with Philip. And they do dance around for a little bit, start to rotate around each other. All right, but notice how the GFS has, first of all, has Philip becoming a monster hurricane here. We're getting into Friday, I guess. Yeah, I guess this would be Friday, and we have a full-on hurricane at this point. And so this is really scary to see this from the GFS. And we get down to a 995 millibar Category 3 hurricane. This thing is still dancing around with Invest 91L, and it pretty much swallows it up at this point as a 952 millibar Category 3 hurricane, and then this thing just heads right out to sea. But this thing is doing loops around the Atlantic here, and it takes up until the 12th of October, getting to October 12th, for this thing to finally get out. All right, so nothing much after that. Up until around the 13th, we get a few tropical waves that could emerge off the coast of Africa. This is very far out again, but we could get another tropical cyclone out of this. We really just don't know. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for coming to watch. I apologize about the mispronunciation about Philip or Felipe. I don't know. I mean, I know it's really funny just watching me doing my thing up here and then having problems with probably one of the easier words out there from the National Hurricane Center. But just correct me in the comments. That'd be great. Just stay safe out there. Don't be scared. Be prepared. Make sure you're aware of what's going to be going on weather-wise across the United States and also the tropics, just in case you do appear to be a threat. To be in a threat because of a tropical cyclone. So thank you all for coming to watch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.